The Carolina Panthers tight end, Pro Bowl tight end, entering his 11th year in the National Football League out of the U. Greg Olsen, how are you, Greg?
I'm doing great, Rich. It's good to be on, as always.
Oh, I love having you on. 11th? So this is your 11th training camp. I mean,
when you say that, it's hard to believe.
Hard to believe. How is the 11th training camp different from your first?
I don't think there's that, there's not that rookie anxiety, that unknown, kind of getting your feet under you a little bit. The harder part now is your warm-ups are a little bit longer. You don't recover quite as fast as you used to. I remember those rookie days. You didn't know anything, but the only thing you could do was you could run around for days on end. Now it's like the complete opposite. You know everything. You know where to go. You know the plays, but you don't quite have the same juice that you used to.
So Lovey was the coach there, right, when you first got there?
Yeah.
In 2007? Yep. And Urlacher, how did Urlacher treat you when you walked in there, Greg?
He was awesome. I've said every time I get a chance, the way he kind of wrapped his arms around me and kind of showed me what it was like to be a pro from day one. I'll never forget one day I was in the weight room and, whatever the exercise was, bench or whatever it was, we were lifting as a team. And, I'm down and I look up and there's a guy standing behind me. He's like, "Hey, you mind if I work in?" And, I kind of look back and, there's BrianUrlacher asking a rookie if he can just work in as opposed to just taking my bench. And, from there we really, developed a good relationship, a good friendship. And, he's a guy that, I owe a lot to, just kind of showing me what it means to be a pro and how to treat people. And, he was as good as it gets.
What do you think of Cutler coming back and going to Miami, Greg?
I think he's going to do great. I called it from the day the report came out on Tannehill. I said to everybody at camp, we were sitting in the cafeteria. I said, "You watch. He's going to come back out. He's going to hook back up with Gase. He's going to get reorganized, healthy, all that, and he's going to have a good year." I mean, they got a lot of good offensive players down there, a good running game. I think he's got a chance down there I think he's going to do really well.
Well, I know, again, you're from afar, and this is not your situation, and I am going to get to your current situation in a second. But what is it about Gase that you think that gets to Cutler in a way that other coaches or even other teammates have not been able to? Greg?
It's a good question. I obviously spend time with Jay. I have never, been around, or I don't really know much about Gase, but just knowing Jay, obviously he has a lot of comfort. He has a lot of trust. And with Jay, I think that's really big. Guys that he really believes in, guys that he really trusts and feels comfortable with, he excels at. He excels with those guys. So, it's pretty clear from their history and track record that's, you don't just come out of retirement for anybody. So I think that was a very unique situation and just kind of plays to that level of trust that he has with Gase down there to, kind of come off the couch, so to speak, and kind of hit the ground running as the day one starter of camp. So I think that says a lot. Obviously Jay's, has a ton of talent. He's played at a high level. And I think with some guys around him in a system that he knows and likes, I think he should do well. Is
there a coach like that for you in your career, Greg Olsen, that you had that connection with?
I've been lucky. I haven't had it. I've had two head coaches my whole career. I've had a couple offensive coordinators. It's kind of funny now on this staff. Obviously we have Mike Shula now, and then as an offensive consultant, we just hired Ron Turner, who was my offensive coordinator when I got drafted in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So, pretty much the only two offensive coordinators that I know. We had Chud for a short while here before he took the Cleveland job, and then obviously I had the 1 year with Martz. But the two OCs that I've worked the most with now are both on our staff. So it's kind of funny, full circle, how that kind of works.
Well, that 1 year with Martz is why you're calling me from Carolina right now, Greg.
Yeah, exactly. That 1 year from Martz is what has kind of set all these events into action. So it was all meant to be.
That's one way to put it. The dominoes started tumbling. Greg Olsen joining me here.
That was the first domino.
That's right. So what's going on with Cam? Tell me about his shoulder here, best you can, Greg.
He started off camp, doing well. He really looked like he was really throwing the ball well first 4 or 5 days. And then I think, all part of the plan all along was we knew there was going to be some ups and downs. Obviously it was a significant shoulder injury for a, throwing, quarterback, a throwing, athlete is always tough. And, I think all along the doctors and everyone anticipated that there'd be some ups and downs, but, just seeing him out there in practice, running around, still heavily involved, throws on the side. So I think they have a pretty smart plan in place, a pitch count, so to speak, and they'll just start slowly easing him back in here now and try to keep that thing under control. So I think, I think we got 4 weeks still or so, 28, 29 days or whatever it is till opening day. So I think I think everyone's optimistic that it'll work out.
Okay. And last we spoke, Christian McCaffrey was still not able to join your team essentially because of the rule that you have to graduate, or your school has to have had its graduation before the kid can join the team. Stanford's graduated. Now McCaffrey's been around. Now that you've been able to eyeball him, tell me what you think of him.
He's impressive. I think from afar, we all knew the talent that he was going to bring. We all saw what he did in college, running the ball, inside, out in space with the ball, return game. I think the physical stuff we all knew. I think, coming in and I think the most impressive thing with him has been, he kind of has the demeanor and kind of the attitude of a veteran. You can tell he's been around an NFL locker room. He knows how to take care of his body. He knows how to conduct himself. He just has a different look on his face and a different look in his eye than a traditional rookie who's, real wide-eyed and kind of taking everything, flying at them. He kind of has a more sense of calm and more sense of, all right, I got this. I know what I'm doing here. So, he's an impressive young kid. He's only 21 years old. But he has a maturity level, significantly, higher than that.
So what are the goals here, Greg? You guys talking Super Bowl openly, getting back there? I mean, it's just only been 2 years, not even, since you were there. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I think obviously that is the ultimate goal for everybody. I think if you ask all 32 teams, that's the ultimate goal. But I think the biggest thing we talk about, that kind of got away from us a little last year, is let's have the best training camp we can. Let's put together the best group of guys that when we go into week one, we're ready to roll. And then when it becomes week one, let's start winning games 1 week at a time and start putting together a little bit of a run. I think that's really what we did the Super Bowl year. I don't think we all started that year saying, we're going to win 17 games. I think we won one game, and next thing you know, it turned to 5, turned to 10. And, you start putting them together and you start building confidence and momentum. We got to get back to this year. So we got to win one, and then you talk about winning the division, and then the kind of season then just kind of plays itself out. So our expectations are high. I think our potential is high, but, in this league, I think that's pretty much the case can be made for everybody.
A couple more minutes left with Greg Olsen here on the Rich Eisen Show. And anybody who knows you and your story with your wife and your family, that life is fragile. I'm wondering, after the report that came out in regards to CTE being found in 110 out of 111 brains of players that played football, what the conversation was like with you, if you wouldn't mind sharing with your family after you heard this, Greg.
Yeah, I think for all of us, especially that have played this game for a long time, we've played this game since we were, 6 years old, and now playing in the NFL for 11 years. This has been a game that obviously has been very good to me. It's been a game that, it's really all I've known almost my entire life. It's been a game that's been, a big part of it. But, those statistics are, of course, startling, and they, of course, get your attention. And, I just don't think you can be, naive about it and totally dismiss it. But I also think there's a part where I think there's a lot of information left to be had. I think when you read the reports, as a lot of us have, even the doctors that are conducting these studies are the first to say, let's conduct some studies on, non-football players and get a little bit more of a control group and really start diving into what these numbers mean. So, of course, we never want to see anybody, football player or not, have struggles later in life. And if there's ways, at this point during their career or, immediately after that we can curb some of these results, I think we'd all be the first to sign up for that. But, to say that I'm going to second guess playing football or anything like that, I'm not. Football is a game that, like I said, has been a big part of my life my whole, since I can remember. It's obviously been very good to me. It's something that I still, this long, really still enjoy doing. So I'm not going to second guess it. We all know what we signed up for. There's no one forcing us to do this, and this is something we've all chosen to do. And I think we can make it as safe as we can, of course, and some of the other risks I think just kind of come with the territory.
And you're living your life in full while you are playing. With Courtyard, you're hooking up with the comedian Ben Schwartz. And you also tried your hand at acting this offseason at the Upright Citizens Brigade. And we also saw your cameo in Khalil's mockumentary, if you will, of Cam Newton's video. It seems like you're having fun with that, Greg. You're a comedian now?
It was. No, I'm not. I'm far from a comedian.
Come on now.
Ben was the comedian. And for anybody who's seen Ben Schwartz, he's brilliant. He's hilarious. He's smart. We had an absolute blast filming that, and he kind of carried me along and made me feel comfortable. We had a really good time with it. It was fun working with him for Courtyard and being a part of that. So people can go check it out at Courtyard's YouTube page. I hope they get as big a kick out of it as we had making it. And all in all, we had a really good time. Yeah,
because they're trying to turn you from a Hollywood newbie into a red carpet superstar. All you got to do is ask Khalil how that happens, right?
No one's more Hollywood than Khalil. I remind him all the time. And that guy just, him playing center is like the third best thing that he does. He's an all-pro center, and it's like his fifth best talent. I tell that guy, I said, you got like bigger things. He's the only guy that's going to retire and actually move up in the world.
Greg, love chatting with you always. If we don't talk before the beginning of the season when you open up at San Francisco, good luck, and then we'll chat with you during the season.
All right, thanks so much, Rich. Always a pleasure.
Likewise. That's Greg Olsen, at Greg Olsen88 on Twitter.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on radio stations across the country and audience.
Isn't it amazing you can download an app with your thumbprint? You should download our app with your thumbprint.